captains for this week on defense will be Taj Letman and Evan McKelvey. And on offense will be Yurachek and Selby. Those guys have had it multiple times. And, again, I've mentioned many times, anytime you go on the road and you're playing on the road, it's important you take your leadership, your toughness with you. So not only those guys are going to do a great job, but the rest of the leadership on our team will have to do that. We're also going to wear a 51 sticker on the back of our helmet to honor, 56 sticker on the back of our helmet to honor Coach Ratliff. And he's a tremendous player here, tremendous coach, and did a lot for this program. So we'll also be wearing that on our helmets. And as you know, Brad Lambert's a guy that got great respect for. He's done a great job with that football team, and we're going to make sure we're prepared to play. They got the number 3 defense in our conference, and you watch them play. They play extremely hard, and they get after it. And you got to give him a lot of credit for the way he's got that team playing. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. And like every week, we got to have a great week of preparation here and get ready to go play.
What does that team do best on defense? And, well, we've got the nose guard, but what are some of their other better players?
They play that 3-down. They play a 3-down look, odd front. They bring people from all over the place. They create a lot of disruption, a lot of negative plays. I think I've said a lot of times the biggest compliment you can give a football coach is how hard your team plays. And you watch that defense play, and I'm sure Brad's got his hand on that quite a bit because he's a defensive coach. Just the effort they play with and disruption they cause, and they've given most teams a lot of problems, and including Temple, who everybody thinks is a pretty good team, and they've created a lot of problems for them too.
We talk a lot about your all's offense, the stats being deceptive because you don't have many yards, but you do have a lot of points. They're sort of on the flip side with their defense, aren't they? Because they've sort of been settled because their offenses struggles with some half fields basically to go against defensively.
Yeah, they've had a lot of turnovers. The offensively they had some turnovers, which hopefully they'll do that against us. But their defense creates a lot of turnovers, and their offense has had a few. So that's as far as their point production, that's kept them down a little bit. But they play hard and they get after it, and they're well coached.
A little bit intriguing going to a place for the first time. There's no player that's been down there, and I don't know how many of you all on the staff have been down there either.
No, we haven't. I don't think anybody has. But they've got a. I think we'll have a tremendous crowd. I know I'm getting a lot of calls for tickets. So if you guys got any extra tickets, I need a few. But I'm getting a lot of calls for them. So I know a lot of our fans are going down, and I'm sure they'll have a great turnout, and it should be a lot of fun.
Another week, Holliday Foster steps up, leads the team in the backfield. What progression from now week 1 to week 2 did you see from him?
Well, I think he's getting better with the protection part of it, which, like I said, it's easy to put the ball in his hand and let him run with it. That's natural for him. But being able to pick up all the blitzes, and this will be a great challenge for him this week because they're, like I say, they're that odd stack. They bring up people from a lot of different areas, so it's going to be a great challenge for, Holliday and Keon and all those young backs. So he'll do a great job of preparing those guys this week. But you just see him grow. He's feeling more comfortable with the position, but he's a natural guy. Normally the tailback position doesn't take long to see if you got one because, they can either have it or they don't. And I think he has it, and I think he'll get better as he goes. And got to get Keon Davis in there a little bit too because a little bit he played the week before and a little bit he played last week. He deserves more carries, so we got to try to get that done. And Pittman's getting close to getting back. So, hopefully we'll have – him with Remy, at least 4 of them ready to go on Saturday.
About Holliday said yesterday, all last year he tried to get you to let him take a few carries. He said, and you finally let him in the bowl game. So obviously he enjoys that running back position.
He does. He's been on us since he got here, wanting to play running back. So he got his wish, and he's taking advantage of it. And he's just got to keep getting better.
Chase said yesterday he called Remy an offensive coordinator on the field. How much does having a guy out there like him help Chase be able to make the calls that when he makes a mistake and move forward?
Well, I think it's always important to have guys out there that have played a lot of football, and Remy's has been one of them as an older guy. I mean, Cato had great confidence. We got with Jaspers a year ago, and of course Selby gives Chase a little bit of that. But we don't have the older players as a group on that offense we had a year ago. If you looked around that team a year ago, and there was a lot more with the Catos, and of course, Rock was out there, and you had Jaspers at center, and you had a lot of older guys in there, and Tommy Schuler at slot, and you don't have as many of them this year, so he's relying on just a few, which we like. But some of those younger guys have to grow up pretty quick, and they're starting to do that.
For this team to be 7-1, considering the injuries, the changes in offensive personnel that you've seen this year, do you sort of take a step back and get impressed by it a little bit?
I mean, I don't think you take a step back at this point. I mean, we thought we'd be 8-0, to be honest. I mean, we just didn't expect to lose any of them. But I think you look back at the end of the year and you may, with all that's happened, but at this point in the season, with no open days, you sure don't have time to look back. You better be looking forward and getting ready, prepared to play the next game, or you're going to get beat. And that's just the way it goes. And with not having an open date, last year we had one after 4 games, and then the second was after 8 games, and it kind of gave you a chance to catch your breath in there. And we don't have a chance at all until 3 weeks down the road to catch our breath. So we can't be looking back. We have to be looking forward and getting ready for each game we play, or we'll get beat.
As a coaching staff, how much does that vary the things that you do in season? Because it was pretty well broken up into thirds last year, like you mentioned.
Well, it was, and we had time to get guys that were banged up healed. Now we don't have that time, that luxury. They just got a lot of guys out there that are playing with. But that's not just us. That's everybody. But we haven't got. Normally, if you got a 2-week period there, you can take 3 or 4 days that first week and get some guys that are banged up back and feeling pretty good. We don't have that luxury right now, so guys got to suck it up and they got to go. And they got some guys have to play with some things that don't feel real good, and that's part of the game. And for the most part, we're getting that done.
Doesn't that affect the synergy on offense? So that when you rotate so many offensive linemen playing back, you got a new quarterback.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we were rolling guys in and out of there, and we had a couple of weeks there where that offensive line was intact, and then last week was Sweet, and Sweet should be back, today doing some things. Sweet would be fine, but you look up there, and Dowers at left guard. He hadn't been at left guard much, and then we got Cody playing right guard, and so we had some guys. Addison's now tackle, so you got new guys in there. But anytime that O-line can stay, and I thought we started getting some of that continuity against FAU, and then we lost a little bit when Sweet and a couple of those guys in the second half a week ago. So got to work to get that back this week in practice. But those guys are good kids. Alex will coach them up and they'll be fine.
Did you look at some point and say, who the heck's in here?
I've done that quite a bit this year. I closed my eyes several times out there. I know the second half of FAU when I saw Keon and Holliday in there, I didn't want to watch, but we did pretty good. So.
You ever had a game where you ran 4 right guards and it wasn't a blowout?
Lost a few like that, but not sure we won a whole lot of them.
Justin Hunt goes out, has his first start, goes out, has a nice first half. What did you see out of him that allowed him to go into that position and also the production he had?
Well, he's had a good week of practice and a good couple weeks of practice, which prepared him to go do that. And he got banged up a little bit there in his first half. He should be fine. Should be practicing again today. So he went in there and played well. But that's what guys that produce and guys that make plays are the guys who are going to get the ball in their hands on Saturdays. So he's done that in practice, and that needs to continue.
Doc, talking about, everything that you've had this year, Beal has decided to no longer be a part of this team. Literally, you don't want to get caught with an LC. You happen to go in and hadn't played any. Is that thinking behind that?
Well, we take great pride in there's nowhere to hide in this program, Woody. If you don't love football and you're not tough, you're gonna have a hard time surviving. You are. But you know what? You just can't win. I'm not with guys that aren't tough and don't like ball. You're gonna lose games, and so. When kids, number one, when kids move on, we don't worry about guys that aren't here. We get guys ready that are here, and we plan on playing 6 more games. To be honest, it's not a 4-game season. It's a 6-game season. So we got still half a season left to play, and we got to get what I never want to happen is get into the 10th, 11th, 12th game of the year and have to go play a guy 1 game. I'd rather play him 6 games and get a couple hundred reps out of him if you can. And but we owe it to each other. We got too much invested as a team, coaches and players that work so hard that it's all about winning now. I remember sitting back. Remember when it was in the bowl game with Cato as a freshman. Yeah, and we had a quarterback leave, and my man Frohnapple came to me and was playing the last game of the year and said if he has to play, he'll play. If a kid got hurt, he didn't care. That's what he meant that's what that kid meant to that team, that they weren't going to let those other guys down that worked so hard to get to that point. So, when somebody says, well, what's you're wasting? You're not wasting a year. We got 105 guys that invested a lot of time and effort and energy and blood, sweat, and tears into trying to find a way to win a championship this year. So we have to do everything we can to possibly do that. And like I say, we're planning on playing 6 more games, and that's a half a season of football. So, in us, it's still halfway there, and we're going to need that kid at some point. I got 4 guys, and he's got to go in there and play, and you'll see him more as the season goes along. We'll get him on special teams, But is it a wasted year? Hell no. No, it's not a wasted year because we got too much invested to go try to accomplish our goals and dreams and everything we got going.
After Saturday's game, Chase was pretty adamant that, we won, but I have to get better. What does it say about him as such a young guy that, a win is good, but it's not good enough for him?
Well, it's great that he's not satisfied. Great players are never satisfied with the way they play, and that's good that he feels that way. I'm glad he feels that way. But we all got to get better, not just him, but we got to become better coaches. We got to become better players at each position, and as good as the defense is playing, as good as the offense is playing, as good as the special teams are playing, we can still go out and get better as a team every day, and that's what great teams do. So you get to the point where hopefully you're playing for that championship. You're the best team you've been all year, and we got to continue to do that. But that's a great mindset to have, and I hope not only him but all our guys have the same mindset.
With the new landscape of college football and the college football playoff and the access bid and everything, as a coach, do you like to see the Cincinnatis and the Boise States on the schedule? That way you can go head-to-head with those conferences you're competing with?
Well, I don't think there's any question. I think when you have the opportunity to play, and that's who we're competing against. When it comes down to it, I don't mean per se Boise or Cincinnati, but those are the leagues that we're going to be competing against to actually get that access bowl. So there's not going to be a whole lot of, there's not going to be, it's going to be cut and dry. If we got the ability to go beat Boise and they're the top team in that league, then there's a pretty good chance we're going to get where we want to go. And Cincinnati's one of the top teams in that league. And if you look at the things, it's kind of us and the American Conference and the Mountain West are kind of the ones the last couple of years that's been in existence that are competing for that slot. And I think Mike Hamrick has done a tremendous job with schedule. If anybody about our schedule right now, about what we got coming into our place to play and where we're going, then they don't have a leg to stand on in my mind. So I think he's done a great job. Not only can our fans go see the games that are being played, but we've got really good people coming here. And I know, I'm not sure I'm real excited about it. I know we got Pitt and Boise coming in here in the same year at one time. So, we should sell a lot of tickets and fans will have couple great teams. And our conference is, Southern Miss is getting better now. You look at Southern Miss now, they're sitting there with 5 wins. Southern Miss is going to be back in another year to be in the old Southern Miss, and we're going. We got to continue to get better as our program grows. And you got Louisiana Tech, old Louisiana Tech. They're good, and Rice, and our is Middle Tennessee, and so you take our conference and add the Boise's, the Pitts, and the NC States, and the Navies, and Cincinnati's and everything that Mike's got going. It's a great schedule. It's going to give us the opportunity to compete for that Access Bowl, which I think is tremendous for our program.
First year of the college football playoff. Last year, you and Boise both had some trouble getting into the rankings, and it took several weeks with the rankings coming out on Tuesday, and you see several group of 5 teams, now in the top 25. Do you feel like Boise beating Arizona last year sort of laid the groundwork for the group of 5 teams to get a little more recognition?
I think it's not just Boise, and we went and took care of business against a good Northern Illinois team, and a lot of teams in that group of 5, did extremely well in the bowl games. So, I think as a and the American Conference is getting better. They're getting better. We're going to get better. Mountain West is going to get better, and like I say, I think the opportunity to play each other and to get some primetime games on TV and do those things, I think down the road is going to help us. But I think it's all good. Anything else?
Word about Charlotte's rushing game. Their quarterback's been struggling, but they've got a real strong running game. Even have an ex-West Virginia guy who's not even listed on the 2 deep, so they must be pretty good back there.
Well, they got Caleb Phillips at running back's a tremendous player. You could turn him on tape. He'll be as good a running back or better running back we played all year. Just go watch him on tape. He's a really good player. He makes people miss from Southern Miss to everybody in space, breaks tackles, and he's a good back. They have the kid that you mentioned at West Virginia that started at one time that was not starting for him. This kid had beat him out and was starting up at West Virginia, the Bowie kid. So they got tremendous back. They're leading our conference in number of plays per game. I think they're averaging like 80 plays a game, and they're running the football extremely well. So they're 3rd in our conference in total defense, and so they're doing some really good things. And give Brad credit because he's done a good job of coaching those guys up and keeps them playing extremely hard, and I know they're going to play that way against us.
When you blitz, as often as they do, Doc, and I know they're showing a lot of different looks, but, it's high risk, high reward, and I think, some of your offensive players felt like that's something if we do what we need to do, maybe we can exploit that.
I hope we get more reward than risk, but you're right. I mean, and middle hit him a couple times on some big plays because of the blitz and did that. So, we'll have to try to get them blocked up, get them matched up, ID them the proper way, and get the hats on the people where you get hats on people. But they do a good job with mixing things up.
Nose guard NFL material.
He looks like it to me. Yeah, he's big, he's physical, he can run, and he looks like he's got a shot. I haven't seen him up in person yet, but he's on film. He's a good player.
Their turnover issues, something that you all have been very successful with this year. How have you all sort of changed into a team that forces a lot of turnovers, and what have you seen has been the biggest issue for them holding on to the ball?
Well, I mean, I think they, and part of the plan to win for us is take care of the football, and we've done that. We did it last week. We've gotten better as the season gone on, but we work at it. I mean, that's something we stress. And, I think defensively, and we every Sunday we work on turnover circuits and that kind of thing, but I think it's the players. You've got players that play extremely hard and run to the ball and do all, play physical and all that. That's what creates turnovers. And, I think the biggest issue they've had with they play 3 different quarterbacks. That's where it starts. I mean, when you're talking about turnovers offensively, it normally starts at the quarterback position with interceptions and that type of thing. And, they've had a few.
Speaking of turnovers, that'd be a nice feeling to have a clean game out of your offense first time this year.
It was. I mean, and, you look at Chase, we coming out of those first 2 games, we had, I think we had 8 turnovers in the first 2 games or something. And after that, and I'm not sure exactly what our numbers are, but we've been pretty good. I think we've won the turnover margin pretty much every game since. And if you can continue to do that, if you eliminate turnovers and take care of the ball, we talk all the time about the plan to win. I think we're starting to do that a little bit. Number one, starts with playing great defense. I think we've done that. The second thing is taking care of the football. We've done a good job of that, and also taking it away and then scoring in the red zone. Offensively, we were 6 for 6 scoring in the red zone last week. Now, we got to score more touchdowns and kick less field goals, although our field goal kicker has gone in there and was 3 for 3, which is good. And then keep them from scoring in the score zone, red zone, which our defense has done, and then continue to dominate the kicking game. And we've had, with the exception of, our kicking game has been solid, and that needs to continue. Our kickoff guy did a great job. Our little kicker's doing a good job kicking through the goalpost, and our punter has been spot on. So if we can continue that and continue to flip the field and do those other 3 things, we got a chance to be pretty good. Okay, thanks, guys.